Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to review the entire season of Daredevil, Season 2. Now, last year I did not get to do my review for Daredevil Season 1. I wasn't up on the show as quickly as everybody else. I knew it was coming out. I knew it was out on Netflix. I just didn't get around to watching it for a while. And then, so this season, I obviously made it my business to watch it when it first dropped. And I think I spent the entire weekend watching the show. I think I binge-watched the first 8 or 9 episodes in a row, and then I finished the following 3 or 4 the next day. And, the interesting thing about the show, when you go back to Season 1, the first 3-4 episodes, pretty much every episode up until they show Kingpin, which was episode 4, was very slow. You know what I mean? It was, story development was decent, stuff like that, but it was very, very slow. It was hard to get into. And I think the showrunners knew that. They really alleviated that right at the beginning of this season. Everything kicks off running, and it never stops. It never stops. And what's interesting is, you bring in 2 characters this season. You bring in the Punisher and Elektra. And sometimes you think to yourself that could really make the show a mess. And it didn't. Everything fell together so fluently and so nicely that I was very surprised. The only downfall of these 2 characters is I felt that Elektra and Frank Castle had a better story to tell individually than Daredevil did. I mean, we all know about Daredevil. He's a kid, accident, goes blind. His father's a prize fighter, involved with the mob, indirectly involved with them, so on and so forth. But then you look at Frank Castle's story, and his story is involved with a conspiracy that involved the death of his family and his kids. And then you go back to Elektra, and then her father being involved with bad businesses, and her being like an orphan, and her bloodlust and stuff like that. Just they brought more attention to those 2 characters at the expense of Daredevil. And that's, I think, the only bad thing I got to say about the season. And even in some ways, that's not necessarily bad, because if you're a big Punisher fan, then you're happy about that. If you happen to be a big Elektra fan, you're happy about that. But considering the show is about Daredevil, it is his show, this felt more like a roundabout show. Like, this was about everybody. It wasn't just about Daredevil. That's not to say that he didn't have his own good character development, because he did. He, this season, was struggling with the double life. The nightlife of being a hero, and then the date life of trying to be a hero in courtroom. And he failed. He failed in the daylight. He let his people, he let Foggy down so many times. He let Karen down so many times. And, it got to the point that he realized he's got to choose one or the other, and he chose Daredevil. I don't know how long that's going to last. I hope that's not something that lasts forever, because one of the things I love about the character Matt Murdock and the Daredevil story is the fact that he is a lawyer during the day. And it almost gives him a one-up on getting criminals that might actually get through the system through loopholes, and a good defense attorney. So I'm hoping that element's not gone completely. I'm hoping that's something they go back to with Foggy, with Karen, and we'll have to see. We'll just have to wait. Foggy, I thought, had a great season. He's just, that character's so awesome in his own right. He's a very good attorney when push comes to shove. He seems very, very soft and very mellow, and he seems like the kind of person that doesn't like to get into confrontations. But when push comes to shove, he makes a fantastic attorney, even standing up to the DA in this season, and really showing that he can do this without Matt. And I think when he realized that is when he felt secure enough to say, look, if you're not going to do this with me, I'll just go out on my own. Karen was another character that I really, really liked this season, which was, at one point, it got a little scary, because then she started getting involved with Matt. And usually on these superhero shows, once you have a strong female character get involved with the primary hero, they tend to be very unlikable. Felicity from Arrow is a prime example. I used to love Felicity. She was my favorite female character on Arrow, but ever since she started dating Oliver Queen and they became serious, I felt that she's been more of a hindrance at times than she has a resolution. It's not to say that her character is not doesn't have the right to feel the way she feels about certain situations, but I also feel that there's a certain compromise that she doesn't really give to Oliver, knowing what he does and knowing what he's gone through. But anyway, that's neither here or there. We're talking about Daredevil. Where in this one, Karen, granted, doesn't know about Daredevil, but as many times as Matt was absent from work because of what he was doing, she really didn't give him a lot of shit about it. She was curious, she wondered, but she didn't bark up his ass about it. And aside from that, she was doing her own thing. I mean, she is such a fantastic researcher in the last 2 seasons, and when she has her mind focused on something, she does not stop. She does not let up, even if it means her life. And that I like about the character a lot. And I thought she did a great job this season, basically representing the firm, working her tail off to get them the information they needed, especially when it came to the case involving Frank Castle. Now, speaking of which, John Bernthal was fantastic as the Punisher. Once again, and I've said this many times in my movie reviews and other show reviews, there's certain people who can be casted as a superhero of any given comic or any given superhero within that comic universe, and very few of them will be that character. Tony Stark's is Robert Downey Jr., who is Tony Stark's. You know what I mean? That's a prime example. Chris Hemsworth, I feel, is Thor. The look and all that, the build. He is Thor. And there's a lot of characters that are like that. Heath Ledger made the Joker his. There's so many different adaptations, but I think his Joker is probably one of the best Jokers. John Bernthal is the Punisher. Let's just say it straight out. He is the Punisher. And it's funny because he was my favorite character on The Walking Dead. Still is to this day. He's not on the show anymore. When I think back to all the characters that have come and gone and the ones that are still there, Shane is my favorite Walking Dead character. And as sad as I was to see him leave, I got to say it's probably the best thing that happened to the actor because his career has taken off since then. He's been in some good movies, The Wolf of Wall Street. He was in that movie with Brad Pitt. I was just talking about the other day with somebody, and I can't remember. Can't remember the name of it. But with the one about tanks is also, I think Shia LaBeouf is in it as well. Brad Pitt. I know somebody will put the name of the movie in the comments. And now that he's got the show, and I'd be surprised, I'd be shocked if they don't take his character and build another show around it, like the Punisher show and stuff like that. Something that is complete opposite of everything we see on TV now, where he is like Oliver Queen was in the first 2 seasons of Arrow. The only difference is he doesn't look to change. He's going to continue killing criminals, and we'll see how that plays out. But he had a very good arc the whole season from beginning to end. A lot of things surrounded Frank Castle on this show, and even challenging Daredevil and what Daredevil's beliefs are and how Daredevil conducts his heroism at night. One of the things he says to Matt that I love is, you hit them, they get back up. I hit them and they stay down. Trying to really, really inform Matt that, look, you may not like it, but when these people are dead, they're not going to do any more harm. When you put them away, they're going to come back out, they're going to do it again. And that's always the big conflict when it comes to superheroes is, yes, I don't want to kill. I want to be morally right. These people should be facing justice, but these are the same people who are going to come out and give you a hard time again. So, and, they had their interactions. They had some wonderful interactions, Matt Murdock on Frank Castle, whether it was very physical, where they were fighting each other, or where it was dialogue. And one of the scenes that were very significant to me is when he's sitting in the graveyard with Matt Murdock before Matt Murdock calls the cops, and he's telling him the story, about his family and stuff like that. And it was very touching. You can see the pain that this man has gone through that has driven him to be this kind of person. And he's not even really a bad person. He just takes criminals and he kills them. He does not believe in letting them live. In terms of other people, even Daredevil, he I don't want to spoil that, but even Daredevil, he kicks his ass and stuff like that, but he's not trying to kill Daredevil. He's trying to show him, look, I'm killing bad guys. I'm not going to kill the good guys. So in terms of Elektra was a very, very interesting character. I like the fact that she already knew Matt. This wasn't something new like we've seen before. She knew Matt already. They've had their relationship. Their relationship has come and gone, and she's basically back to seek Matt's help. She knows right off the bat that he's a Daredevil because of his skill set and the things that he does. So she recognizes because she and him were trained by the same person. So not to mention she was also working for Stick. So she knew already that he was Daredevil, which is why she sought his help. And a lot of it had to do with this big happening regarding what you think is the Yakuza, and it turns out to be something else. I don't want to spoil it too much. So to keep this review relatively short in general, the ending of the season was probably the other disappointment for me. I felt the ending wasn't as big a payoff as I thought it should be. When you're considering how things were building up, when you're considering the Frank Castle situation, when you consider Elektra and her involvement in the show for the last half of the season, I was expecting a huge payoff for a season finale, and it was very underwhelming. It was a very underwhelming last episode. From a story standpoint, yes, things were set up fine, things flowed fluently, and there's a lot of things to look forward to the following season. But in terms of the action, they build it up and make you think something big is going to go down, and it really is not as big as you might think. It really isn't. So that was disappointing. I don't want to give it up, but you'll understand what I mean when you get to the end of the episode. Like you're gonna be sitting there waiting for that moment, and the moment's never gonna happen, and you're gonna kind of feel a little bit shotted. Like you're gonna feel like, I don't know, why did they not do that? Why did they kind of build it up that way and it never really turned out that way? But overall, it was a fantastic season 2. Definitely an improvement over the first season. There are some cameos in there I don't want to spoil that you'll see, and you'll know they're big when you get to them. And yeah, it was great. Nice little Easter eggs in there to keep people excited about what they're developing on Netflix. Nice little cameos to further reinforce what they're trying to do. And I thought DareDevil season 2 was just great. Action was great. The stories, especially surrounding Frank Castle, was amazing. I thought Daredevil's Matt Murdock story element in the season was fantastic. The struggle of Matt Murdock. This Daredevil this year is a very, very seasoned Daredevil. You know, he does not get his ass kicked very often. He definitely meets some challenges, and he definitely has some people that oppose him that are challenging. But compared to last season, this is a seasoned Daredevil. So that was nice to see. And what we saw was the struggle of Matt Murdock, which was very nice as well. Anyway, guys, that's it for my season review of DareDevil Season 2. Did you see Season 2? What did you think? Put the comments in the section below. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings on Season 2 of Daredevil. Until next time, this is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description. You're watching ETN. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to review the entire season of Daredevil, Season 2. Now, last year I did not get to do my review for Daredevil Season 1. I wasn't up on the show as quickly as everybody else. Like, I mean, I knew it was coming out. I knew it was out on Netflix. I just didn't get around to watching it for a while. And then, so this season, I obviously made it my business to watch it when it first dropped. And I think I spent the entire weekend watching the show. I think I binge watched the first 8 or 9 episodes in a row, and then I finished the following 3 or 4 the next day. And, you know, the interesting thing about the show, when you go back to Season 1, you know, the first 3-4 episodes, pretty much every episode up until they show Kingpin, which was episode 4, was very slow. You know what I mean? I mean, it was, you know, story development was decent, stuff like that, but it was very, very slow. It was hard to get into. And I think the showrunners knew that. They really alleviated that right at the beginning of this season. Everything kicks off running, and it never stops. It never stops. And what's interesting is, you know, you bring in 2 characters this season. You bring in the Punisher and Elektra. And sometimes you think to yourself that could really make the show a mess. And it didn't. Everything fell together so fluently and so nicely that I was very surprised. The only downfall of these 2 characters is I felt that Elektra and Frank Castle had a better story to tell individually than Daredevil did. I mean, we all know about Daredevil. You know, he's a kid, accident, goes blind. His father's a prize fighter, involved with the mob, indirectly involved with them.